Good afternoon, class. Welcome to my ED116 Microteaching presentation for primary teachers. My name is Jeffrey Pitangasi, ID number S110667442, local campus. This presentation is taken from the unit topic Energy and Force and was presented on this date, the 27th of September 2023. Anyway, the lesson topic for today is under the unit topic Energy and Force, which is heat energy for year 4 pupils. The expected outcomes, by the end of this lesson, every pupils will be able to realize the heating and cooling energy as something to do with the relationship of gaining and losing of heat from hot point to cold point in a process of conduction, solid metal. There are a few materials needed for this class. There will be an experiment today. Materials needed are as follows. We need candlestick, piece wood or improvise, can be cup or whatever, candle wax, matches, and a buttered knife. This experiment is designed to the readily available resources. In other words, improvisation. Right. Just before we go on through the process of experiment, let's go through a little about heat energy. Now, heat energy or thermal energy is one of the forms of energy that flows from one point to another, from heat point to the cold point of a metal. For more clarification to this lesson topic, we will be doing an experiment to find out whether it is true or just an assumption. Anything that produces heat and light is an heat energy. This energy type is most applicable at home, right? When cooking, or hotting water, cooking bands, and many more. Anything that produces hot is an heat energy, is an example of an heat energy. So heat energy moves from one point, hot point, to a cold point. A heat transmission or transfer of heat. This process is called the conduction to solid. There are three matters: the solid, liquid, and gas. We'll be looking much on the solid. And as I have said, heat transfers from hot point to a cold point. There are three main characters of this heat process: the conduction, convection, and radiation. But today we'll be focusing much on the conduction. Other characters will be explained with our next lesson. Anyway, without wasting time, we will be doing an experiment on the process of heat energy based on the experiment strategy, the POE method. When we talked about the POE method, we are referring to the prediction, the observation, and the explanation of an experiment or a lesson, to a science lesson. Okay, so we'll start with the method of POE teaching method. We'll start by doing the prediction. So to this experiment, we'll be doing, first of all, a prediction, right? Just before we do our experiment, let's pause with a question to predict about what will happen to the process, okay? What do you think will happen to the heat when the flame is just hitting the point of the knife? Yeah. Will the metal be heated, or if the wax is melted? This means that the heat is traveling from the hot point to the cold point. What do you think? Good. Some predictions here. The wax will be melted if it is heated, even though it's far apart from where the flame is, but it will be melted because the heat transfers from hot to cold. This is because the heat from the flame transfers from hot point to the cold point. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. Experiment direction. Just before we did the experiment, let's look at these directions. All right, so let's start. There is a piece wood. There is a piece wood here, and a candlestick. This is the candlestick, about 10 centimeters away, right? And matches, matches here. And place the butter knife across. This is the butter knife across from the top here, and then across to where the candlestick is. About 5 centimeter a candle wax. Yes, it should be somewhere here. Sorry, the wax should be somewhere here. Yep. And let's watch what will happen to the process. Okay, as we are watching during the investigation, remember we are dealing with heat, so when we handle it, must be very careful, otherwise our fingers will be burnt. All right, so let's work on this experiment. Okay, as I was said, this is the block. Yeah, instead of wood, because we don't have enough wood here, so improvise. We get this cup. And then this is the candlestick, the buttered knife, and this is the wax. Let's see what's going to happen to the process. Does heat transfer from hot to cold? Okay. If the wax is melted, then this one will prove that yes, heat really transfers, right? Okay, so I give 5 minutes to watch the process, see if it can melt it. Does the wax melt? Let's see the process. Okay, do you think the conduction happened? Let's see, a little bit slower. Yeah, a little bit windy here too. So remember, don't touch the knife. Let's see if the wax melted. If it happens, then this proves that the heat is transferring from a hot point to the cold point. As long as the boiling point is reaching the climax, that helps us heat up the base metal. Let's see, we're still watching. As I've said, I give 5 to 6 minutes. Let's see if the wax, yes, it started to getting hotter, and the instruction told us not to touch the metal, so we will not be touching the metal. Just watch if it works out. If the heat transfers from hot item to metal to the cold metal. Okay, it started getting hotter. Okay. Right, okay, it's time's up. Yeah, as you look at the process, it's still going on. It started to getting melt, but we'll see as the time is chasing the answer. Right, the expansion part, it started to getting melt. So, okay, now it was proved that the conduction is taking place. You see, the metal started getting heated up, and the candle started to melt. The wax is melt. This confirmed that the heat is transferred from a hot point to the cold point, right? So our prediction has proved to us that the heat transfers from hot point to the cold point by the flame, right? Okay, so we're so thankful that our prediction is equivalent to the experiment. Right, thank you very much for this cooperation during this experiment. Today we were sure that truly the heat is transferred from heat point to the cold point. The point of heat is transferred. Even the POEM method has given us a very simple process to find out about something. Okay, so with the above process, it proved that the heat energy can neither be created nor destroyed, but can be transferred and transformed. Right? Thank you so much for today. Just before we wind up today for our experiment, are there any questions or comments on our experiment we have just completed? All right, silent means everything is okay. Thank you very much for coming and participating. Back away and have a nice day today. Thank you.